Good morning, good morning, good morning. It's Wednesday, and you are happily tuned in to the I'm Making It Happen radio show with Nykole Tyson on the Reef 102.5 FM with Exceptionally Yours. And with the exception is Nykole Tyson. And we're here on Wednesdays from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And on I'm Making It Happen, we discuss how we can make it happen in our minds, bodies, finances, business, and culture, despite the inevitable and not so pleasant challenges. And that's to ultimately allow us to realize that we have the power to improve and maneuver ever in any situation. And, I'm always excited for the conversation. And we today have the RT Park, the Research and Technology Park in studio with us, specifically newest executive director Eric Sonnier, as well as Sydney Paul, director of marketing communications. Before we get into detail, I want to say good morning to USVI, St. Grace, St. Thomas, St. John, the British Virgin Islands, and all those in St. Kitts and Nevis, and anywhere you are in the Caribbean. Thanks so much for tuning in, as well as all those listening live on rebroadcasting.com from the East to West Coast. Thank you for tuning in, and those watching live on Facebook at I'm Making It Happen. Thank you for, doing, and please do like and share. And so, as I mentioned, we have the RT Park in studio with us, newest executive director, Eric Sonnier. We're so excited. We've had him in the studio before, but this is not in his newest capacity. And so we're excited to have him here. Good morning, Eric.
Hey, good morning. Thanks for inviting us on. And as always, looking forward to the conversation.
Yes. And also, of course, we have Sydney Paul. She is a marketing and Director of Marketing Communications.
Good morning. Hey, good morning, Nykole. Good morning to all the listeners across the VI and online.
Good morning. And so excited for your position. Congratulations on your new role, Executive Director of the RT Park.
Thank you.
So can you share with us a bit about your background? I know we've had you before, of course. We know some of your background, but in this capacity, we'll talk about, let everybody know, remind them about your background and what attracted you to this position.
Absolutely. And again, good morning, everyone out there listening today and on the live stream. Nykole, thanks for having us again. My background is, I'm originally from Houston, Texas. I did my undergrad at the University of Texas in Austin and went into consulting for a while. And so worked at Deloitte in their strategy and management consulting practice. Did that for a couple of years and then really got into tech and wanted to move to San Francisco, where anybody who's in the tech space knows that a lot of the activity is happening there. They call it Silicon Valley. And so I just wanted to be where that energy and that technology was being built. And so I did that for a couple of years. I worked for a startup out there in the mobile advertising space, and at the same time was applying to business schools. And I got into Harvard Business School, and that's a 2-year program. So I moved to Boston for that program. And during that time, I started my first technology company. And ran that company while I was in school, ended up moving back to Silicon Valley, again in San Francisco, and ran that company out there for a couple of years. As with most startups, that company failed, right? But there was a lot of lessons that I learned from that experience. I took those lessons and started a second company. That company much more successful, again, based on the lessons that I learned from the first one, and ran that company for about 5 years, raised about $5 million for that company. Wow. And when I decided to step down, obviously my wife is from St. Croix, right? And we were deciding where do we want to live, where do we want to raise our kids? And so we chose St. Croix as the next destination for us. And we've been here since January 2019. I've been actively involved in running the accelerator program, so helping entrepreneurs at the RT. And then, as you mentioned, Nykole, I took over as executive director on September 1st. And we have a lot of new exciting programs that we're running, a lot of focus on the community and the impact that we make for the community. And so we're going to share some of that with you guys today.
Extensive background and definitely equipped to handle and take the RT Park to the next level. And so thank you for sharing your background. And so tell us, what is your vision for the RT Park moving forward, and how do you plan to enhance its impact on the local community and economy?
Absolutely. So when I think about vision, I think first you have to kind of take a step back and look at where do we begin, and what did we accomplish from that time point until now, and then from there I can look forward and say, okay, well, what is my vision as the fourth executive director of the RT Park? And so anybody who knows any history of the RT Park, it was founded in 2002, and it really was like a fledgling of a company for quite a few years. It went through a few different executive directors, and I think their focus was really on how do we generate enough revenue that we can build a sustainable entity. So the legislature granted the funds to start the RT Park. The university played a role in ensuring there was enough finances available for the RT Park to run in the early days, but we're now at a point where we're self-sustaining. So we operate like a for-profit company. So our budget typically matches our revenues, right? And we make budgeting decisions based on how much revenue we're going to bring in on any given year. And so with that privilege, right, of being able to take over an organization that's already profitable, my focus and my vision has been on community impact. So we do business attraction, which means that we bring companies to the territory in order to help us build a diversified workforce. So we focus on knowledge and tech-based companies, and in exchange for the tax incentives that we provide, they're required to pay the RT Park management fees, and so that's how we generate our revenue. But then they're also required to contribute to the university in several ways. And so for me, it's in that exchange, it is what are we as the RT Park doing for the community, right? How are we impacting the community? And I want there to be tangible things that we can point to that highlight this. So as a part of my vision, we'll talk about these programs later, but I just want to mention them. I'm doubling down on youth STEM enrichment, right? And so we've launched after-school programs in 3 K-8 schools in the territory. So one on St. Croix, Eulalie Rivera, Lockhart on St. Thomas, and then Julia Sprov on St. John. So those programs are currently running, and we have about 75 K-8 students that are participating today, and those numbers go up daily. We're also going to launch a summer camp this summer that's focused on STEM. So STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And so the idea is that we want the kids to come and have fun, but we want them to learn as well. In addition to that, we just launched our professional pathways program, and this is a bridge really for UEI students to prepare for internships and employment opportunities with not only our RT Park clients, so the companies that we attract, but with other organizations in the territory. We're going to continue running our accelerator program. So the program that we launched 6 years ago now, we're going to continue running that. It might look a little bit different when we launch it, but that entrepreneurship is always going to be a focus for us. And then the last thing I'll mention is that we're also trying to help small businesses with their capital needs. So we have what we call the Catalyst Fund, which is an opportunity for us to lend to small businesses in the territory. And we have 2 upcoming events where small businesses in the territory can learn more. You don't have to be a tech company. You don't have to be affiliated with the RT Park. You can think of us as a community development financial institution. Although we aren't one yet, that's the focus that we want to have. So a lot. I've said a lot, but all of that are core elements of my vision for the RT Park, and we can dive into some of those a little bit later.
Well, one comment here says that it's awesome to have young people in these positions. This is online, so definitely I do agree that they've selected someone that is younger and that also has the capabilities. And we have a lot of young people in the territory that do, and so that's great that the division, the RT Park board, saw that as something that they should incorporate. And so with that, you have a lot of things that are happening. And you mentioned a lot, but I'm going to ask. And we know that it's been a part of our growth. A lot of growth that we've seen. You have definitely assisted a lot of companies or startups, some that started, but helping them to advance in their on their path. What are some key goals? You mentioned a lot of the programs. What is some key goals that you're focusing on in your few? Well, you've already started since September, but what has been and will continue to be some of your goals you're focusing on?
Yeah, so employment is a big one for us. Employment and workforce development, and I think that's the mission for any economic development organization, right? And I think it's taken us some time to, I went through that evolution because it's taken us some time to get to a point where we can, stop focusing on, how do we generate revenue and start focusing on that impact for the community. And so
implement where?
Here in the territory.
Yes. In general.
Yeah. So the idea of the way that it should work is that when we attract companies to the territory, then we want to also create jobs in those companies, right? And so whether it's a Virgin Islander who's already prepared and trained and can do that work, that's great. But if not, what programs or training and development can we institute here in the territory so that we can be prepared for that? And that could be jobs that are physically located here. Like we prefer those, right? We prefer a company to come down, open an office, and hire Virgin Islanders. But also we have to realize that, we're small islands and not everyone can have an office here, but there is an opportunity to work remotely, right? And so still providing people with training and development and allowing them to apply for remote jobs is also a core focus of us. So creating jobs and workforce development is a big one, and we have a goal of doing that each year. With the youth STEM education, a lot of people don't think about it this way, but that's also workforce development and training, right? Is that you're sparking a seed in a child, whether they be in 4th, 5th, 3rd grade, to be interested in this field, right? That we hope leads to a career in the STEM area, whether it be computer science or engineering or audio engineering, etc., right? But like if you don't find that child at a young age and encourage them and make science and technology fun, then you run a risk of losing them, right? And so this is something that my team and I talk about, and you mentioned us being relatively young. I have an amazing team, relatively young team, but we have the opportunity to look at things with a long-term view, right? Like we have a lot of years left of work, whereas someone who might be older isn't thinking about it the same way. But for us, it's you can measure me or judge me on what I'm doing this year, but just know that I'm planting seeds for 5 years, 10 years from now, right? So if a 5th grader now graduates, from high school, however many years from now, right, what degree program are they going into? Are they prepared for the workforce? Can they fill one of the jobs that we're bringing in this tech and knowledge-based industry?
That's an important aspect that you mentioned in regards to the STEM, and I thought about that when I mentioned about like when you said implement is one of your goals, is because in order to change anything, you have to start with the youth and look at 20 years. So you're looking at the elementary students, and you want to change behaviors or have a difference outlook that's going to be impactful. You need to start from like looking at 20 years, kindergarten on up, and so that's a really good perspective that you guys have and implementing that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we talked about this, with the team a little more in depth the other day, and, just considering the economic and political climate that we're in, one of the questions I had was, what is our role in the midst of government, federal funding shifts and all of these things, and, our territory, even before 2017 and the hurricanes, but really since then, we've been in sort of a shock mode and a reactionary mode and a survival mode. And my question was, well, where does the RT Park fit in all of that? And Eric answered it the best way, which is we can't be everything to all as an organization, but we think that our role specifically is not necessarily looking at immediate actions, but planting the seeds. What can we do now to build better resiliency 10, 20 years down the road in terms of our workforce, in terms of our economy? So that's where I think a lot of the work that we do is. And then on top of that, one of the things that I think about a lot is ensuring that the community understands what the RT Park is. Many people didn't really know what we were or who we were. There wasn't a face to put to a lot of the work that was happening at the RT Park in the first half of its existence. It's been now in existence for 23 years, about. So you think about economic development and you think about, economic diversification, bringing in new industries or sectors, bringing in companies, but there's a community development aspect to that where now as an organization, we want to have direct more direct touch points with the community, and that's why working with youth, working in terms of workforce development training, working with UVI students, those are high touch points that you wouldn't have seen the RT Park in before, and that's what, with Eric as executive director, we're leaning more into those, like showing the community that we are a physical presence here and we are a resource for you. We're not just a resource for companies coming into the territory.
Oh, that's perfect. And so with that, very important thing that you just said, you're not just resource for companies, but resource for the community. So it's very important to know and note. And being that said, and you were saying many people were not aware about what the RT Park is. For those who are just tuning in, listening, or turning their focus to this conversation, explain what the RT Park is.
Yeah, so the UVI Research and Technology Park at its core is an economic development organization, or EDO. EDOs focus a lot of their work on supporting the region, town, municipality, city, what have you. They're across the country, and in many, across the United States, and then many other countries have concepts like this. And EDOs focus a lot of their time on attracting companies to that space, but also building resiliency in the economy by building a workforce. Maybe they specialize in a certain industry, but it's on supporting the growth of the economy of that space. So that is what we do. We, particularly the Research and Technology Park, focus on tech and knowledge-based business attraction. So we work specifically with bringing technology and knowledge-based companies. We have about a little over 70 companies in the territory right now operating. Most of them work or operate from the island of St. Thomas, but our headquarters is on St. Croix. We have a partnership or affiliation with the university, so that's why when you hear us say UVI, Research and Technology Park, we are an affiliate. We partner really closely with the university, and Eric can talk a little bit more about how that partnership works. But our headquarters is based on the St. Croix campus. So if you're heading to UVI campus on St. Croix, when you first turn in, on the right-hand side, you see a big white building that has like a sugar mill, like a white sugar mill shaped building. That's our building, which is also a community space now that we've been using for a lot of partnerships with community organizations, and government institutions and private businesses use our space all the time. But that's essentially what we do. And for the larger part of the existence of the RT Park, we focused a lot on what Eric said is making the business profitable, the corporation profitable, and we do that through fees that clients who, tech companies that we call clients, who come into the territory through our program, they pay fees. And these fees then support the work, the community development work that we do. So that's how the business operates. And that's usually what an economic development organization does.
Perfect. Very well explained. One question that I have is that you're saying that there's a lot of companies that are, within the space that's, working with RT Park, but they're based on St. Thomas. Why is that? Are they just more interested to be over there? Or?
I think there's a lot of reasons. Historically, St. Thomas has been the center of commerce for the territory. Flights play a role, right? Like that's another conversation, right? But having access in direct flights is important, right? And we have very few direct flights to many places outside of Miami and Atlanta at certain parts of the year here on St. Croix. And then I think once a cluster begins to form, people just kind of stick to doing what other people did. And so I would say during our tenure, we've done a good job of getting more companies to come to St. Croix. And for us, we don't determine where they end up, but our goal is to try to get them to come during this attraction process and see all three islands, right? We had a client come in December. He went to St. John, St. Thomas, St. Croix. He got to visit all islands and then make a decision based off of that. So it's really just depends on the needs of the company.
Understood. Because I met some actually at the RT event last summer, and I knew a few that did choose St. Thomas. And then, but there are definitely advantages to being enough on St. Croix,
Absolutely.
if they're looking not to be in a hustle and bustle environment. And when they do, if they, and what's also adds to us in addition to economic growth is, them being here. If they're on the island, they also, patronize businesses
Exactly.
here, the stores, restaurants, and whatnot. That adds to our economy. Look on, specifically on St. Croix, but definitely, that you cannot determine where they choose to reside after you bring them here.
Yeah, and you just mentioned something which is like they help boost the economy, and I think we don't talk about that enough. But when a company comes here, they need to hire accountants, they need to hire lawyers. They hopefully are getting office space, right? They're eating and dining at restaurants. So there's some other effects that happen when you bring a company here that aren't just directly related to who that company is hiring. So
yeah, because when I look at it, it's like this is economic tourism. Ecotourism is not eco, but economic. Because when you bring in what we say for St. Croix as opposed to St. Thomas, we brother like overnighters because they patronize the stores, the restaurants, the different things, the hotels, Airbnb. So that adds to everybody.
Yeah.
And so like you bring it in when these individuals decide to come and partake in the business opportunity here or incentives here, then they also add to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, one of the other things that I wanted to add about what makes the RT Park itself unique as an economic development organization is the partnership with UVI. So clients who come in through our program collaborate directly. They have sort of like a curated experience where they work with the university on how do we create workforce development opportunities that support the business that I do, but also then give opportunities to the students. Sometimes they're curating curriculum, workshops, degree programs sometimes, and it's all based on the needs of the company, but those needs then support the economic diversification of the territory. So that's one of the things that make us unique that you don't see with a lot of other EDOs, and that's kind of really what the concept of a research and technology park is that partnership. There's research and technology parks across the country, and they usually partner with a university on research, commercialization, workforce development opportunities for the students, getting students hands-on experiences working with these companies. That's a really cool and important aspect of the work that we do that we're really proud of, and they provide contributions to the university. So when you're thinking about, okay, well, how are these clients impacting us? We are really proud of that contribution that we're able to facilitate between the clients and the university, that the university is able to use to advance their initiatives. So it's really important.
Great, thank you for that note. So here we have a comment, and it mentions, I love the STEM program initiative. Wow, I wish my grandson was here to get him in that program. What are the ages for the students? What are the ages the students can participate in the summer program? Is it limited to children that reside in the Virgin Islands? If he comes to visit the person during the summer, can she enroll him? He's 13 years old, going to the 9th grade, and he's aiming to be an electrician engineer.
That's awesome. Thanks for sending that message. So, yes, it is an in-person camp, right? So we'll have two different camps. We'll have one here on St. Croix at our RT Park headquarters, and Sydney mentioned where that is on UVI's campus. And then over on St. Thomas, we're going to do it at the 13D Innovation Center, which is really close to UVI's campus over on St. Thomas. And it will be ages from first grade all the way to 12th grade. So yes, your grandson can participate. You don't necessarily, I mean, as long as you can be here and participate in the summer camp, then that's all that matters. If you want to follow us and get more information on when we open up the applications for the summer camp, you can visit us on our any social, right? Our handle is at UVIRTP. That's UVIRTP. So Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. You can find us there. And once we roll out the summer program, you'll be able to see and fill in whatever information for your grandson. So yeah, it's amazing.
Another way just to keep updated on those programs is we just launched a new website. So it's uvirtpark.net. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, there's a sign up for our newsletter. We send out a monthly newsletter that gives updates on our programs and initiative, gives you insight and even heads up on when certain events and registrations are happening, that's within our network. Sometimes it's our Tea Park events, sometimes it's our community partners events, but it's another great way to get ahead of the game, signing up for our newsletter. So you can find the sign up at the bottom of the homepage of our website.
And I guess about this is, she asked a question about this summer camp, which, is coming up, but we're actually doing STEM enrichment programs today, like right now, here in the territory. And I mentioned that before, but so if you have a son or a daughter or a niece, a nephew, grandson, granddaughter that goes to Ulele Rivera, we have a program that's running there currently. We have about 30 students that are already enrolled, and you can still sign up. So, if you need to reach out to somebody and let them know that they can sign up, we're doing it there. On St. Thomas, it's at Lockhart. Same thing. You can still sign up. And then St. John is Julius Rob, and you can sign up there. So these are our pilot programs with our pilot schools, and so next semester we hope to add more schools to it and just keep growing it. So we're not only in the K through 8 schools, but we're adding other elementary schools, other middle schools, and the high schools in the territory as well.
Perfect. Okay, so if you're just tuning in, then, if you're tuned in already, you know that we have Eric Sonnier. He's the newest executive director for the Research and Technology Park. And we also have Sydney Paul. She is the director of marketing and,
Communications.
Director of Marketing Communications. And they're talking about all things about the RT Park. There's a lot of new programs that's happening, as well as initiatives. His vision is just amazing, right? For those who have been tuned in and are just tuning in, especially that the strategy in regards to the economic development here and making sure that we have employment opportunities, that not just that we have employment opportunities, they're always here, but that the youth that's here can participate. And so starting from, the MK and going up through, 12th grade in regards to the STEM programs, making sure that the students are interested in it and getting them engaged early, because that's very important to let them know what the options are. Because you start determining from a young age what do you want to be, and so you have to put that in their ear that you could possibly be an engineer or scientist or this or that or whatever, and you can do these things from St. Croix. You don't have to leave.
Exactly. Yeah, exposure is a huge thing. You don't know that something is a possibility for you if you don't see it. You don't know if something is attainable to you if you don't see people who look like you and talk like you doing these things. And that's something I've been really passionate about since starting at the RT Park. Is just, we have a lot of VI talent, Nykole, especially in STEM, especially in tech, that are doing amazing things across the world. Yep. And I would love for Virgin Islands students and Virgin Islands youth to see that that's something that's attainable and tangible to them as an opportunity for a career path, and to be problem solvers for their own community using tech and innovation, which is, again, a huge opportunity for us, and we know our challenges better than anyone. So if we can spark that interest now from a very early age, we're creating those problem solvers that we're going to need for building resiliency and progressing 10, 15 years from now.
Can I just give a quick shout out to Marie Perkins?
Yes.
So Marie Perkins is the one who heads our youth enrichment programs, and she built an entire curriculum from scratch, and it's all culturally relevant. Right. And so even the word problems in the curriculum are places that we think the youth would be familiar with, right? So when you're reading and learning, it's relevant to you. We talk about coral reef restoration. We talk about different things that you as a young Virgin Islander would be familiar with versus, having to learn and read about things that you're not familiar with in a complex or, problem that you already have to figure out. Like adding an extra layer of something you don't understand is not helpful, right? And so we built our own curriculum for all of the STEM enrichment programs, and Marie Perkins is the one who spearheaded that. So we're very proud of that and excited to see how that changes the way that the students learn.
Yeah, relative teaching, that's awesome. Culturally relative.
I want to also just do a bigger shout out to Eric and his vision, because Marie is a part of the community advancement team, which did not exist necessarily before, but we formalized it. So the community advancement team is focusing directly on community development programming. That is what the Professional Pathways program, the STEM enrichment program live under, and it is showing our dedication and commitment to, like I said earlier, showing that we are a resource directly for the community as well. So I just wanted to shout out the whole team. Alfonso Rodriguez is the head of community advancement, and Shania Hanley is also the coordinator for the Professional Pathways program, which is our workforce development program. All local Virgin Islanders, young Virgin Islanders who were trained here. Some are alumni of the University of UVI. That this was all very important in building out what our community advancement work initiatives were built on. So I just want to shout them out also.
Thank you. And I want to shout out Buddy out of Maryland, saying he's tuned into the show. He says no way there. So thank you for tuning in. All right, and so so great. And so we have the RT Park in studio, Eric Sonnier, who is the executive director, and Sydney Paul, who is the director of marketing and communications, and just some exciting things that's happening at the RT Park. So excited to hear. And so we're going to take a break. When we get back, we're going to get into these programs specifically. So don't go anywhere. But before we do, definitely want to remind you that Carlos Furniture is still your number one furniture store in the territory. They're located in Tutu Park Mall, St. Thomas, and Peters Rest, St. Croix. They have some big sales. Go and check out their Facebook page, Carlos Furniture. You can find items for your living room, bedroom, kitchen, and more decorative items. And again, as I mentioned, sales. They're open 7 days a week. Make sure you check them out either in Tutu Park Mall, St. Thomas, or Peters Rest, St. Croix. And as well as Quality Auto Parts, located near Sunny Isles. It's open 7 days a week. And as it's all in the name, they have your Quality Auto Parts. You can call them at 340-778-5462 for any questions. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. Welcome back. You're listening to I Make It Happen with Receptionist Nykole Tyson. If you were with us before the break, you'll know that we have the RT Park, the Research and Technology Park, in studio with us, specifically Eric Sonnier. He's the executive director, newest executive director. He started his role in last September. Of the RT Park, and also Sydney Paul, who is the director of marketing and communications. And before the break, we mentioned, the vision, the team, the young team, their priorities in regards to economic development, starting with the youth, all the programs they already have that's happening right now in the schools regarding STEM. Getting the children engaged and interested, and as you said, exposed to these fields. And then that we found out that the training that they're providing or education is culturally related, which is really cool. I think the children would be more interested. I think if I had word problems in school that was like localized, I wouldn't have that I was as stressed, because math word problems sometimes had your brain going twisted, and I think it would have been more interesting if we had those inclusions. And then so now we're going to talk about on the programs. Eric mentioned them briefly, and we're going to go into more detail about the programs that they are having in the school, and that's coming up in the summertime. So you're launching some exciting community advancement programs, including the STEM enrichment program. We mentioned a bit. Is there anything else you want to provide details? Well, first of all, let's start with the Ag Fair. What's happening with the Ag Fair? You're going to be at the Ag Fair?
Absolutely. So for those listening that were, the STEM enrichment program piqued their interest for their kids or grandkids, children in their lives, we will be doing STEM activities for kids at the agriculture fair this weekend. We have our own space, a really nice tent. You won't be able to miss it. It's going to be near the UVI tent. So the UVI tent is usually sort of like in the middle of the ag fairgrounds, a really big one. So if you kind of walk that way, you'll be able to see us near the UVI tent. We're doing STEM activities each day throughout the day. Marie and members of the team are going to be facilitating that for the same ages that are participating in the STEM enrichment programs in the school. So anything from 5 through high school have opportunities to do really cool stuff with us and take away some cool things with them. And then we're also doing a lot of giveaways. We want to make sure that people are aware of the work that we're doing. So there are going to be some giveaways at our tent. We're going to be doing a giveaway online. Please, if you're not following us on Facebook and Instagram, and just on all social platforms at UVIRTP, we're doing some big giveaways that involve you doing a couple fun things with us online, so stay tuned for that. And just giving some more information on our programming, you can meet Eric at the fairgrounds if you want to ask him questions and meet him in person. He'll be there. Most of our team members will be there. We have grown our team over the last couple of years, and like I said earlier, most of the team is from the Virgin Islands. We're based here. We want people to see that we're a part of the community and meet us and talk about what we do, as well as meeting some community partners and business partners of the RT Park. Boomerang Eats, who went through our accelerator program, they're going to be visiting us for a couple hours on Sunday, I believe, and Tariq McMillan, who is co-owner of Greater Changes, they went through our accelerator program. They're going to be there as well on Saturday to talk about their experience as entrepreneurs working with the RT Park. We want people to see and touch and feel and just have conversations around all of the programming that we've done over the last 6 years. And that's why we wanted to have a space at Ag Fair, support sustainability. That's another big part of the work that we do. So come visit us. We'll be there every single day, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. with a lot of cool stuff to share with you guys.
Okay, great. That's the agriculture fair happening Friday.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Yeah. Monday's a holiday, President's Day.
All right, great. All right, so that's the agriculture fair. You can find them, the RT Park near the UVI tent, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Saturday to Monday. And bring your children because you're going to have a lot of, activities for them. All right, and so next, you mentioned the youth STEM, right? That's right now running St. Croix. What's the school again?
Eulalie Rivera. Here on St. Croix, on St. Thomas, it's the Lockhart School, and then on St. John is Julius Sprague. So all three K through 8 schools is where we currently are. And this is the first semester that we've rolled out the program. So the idea was to keep it relatively small. We're going to learn from what we're doing now, and then going into the summer, as we mentioned before, we'll have our summer camp, and that's going to be open from
get to there. So with the youth STEM that's in the schools right now, how does it work?
So it's an after-school program. Parents can sign their kids up through the school, right? It's not so you can communicate with the school, and we have teachers that we've hired to run the after-school program. So it's not a new face. It's people who are already in the school, and they can learn anything from. There's robotics courses. We talk about marine biology. We share, lessons on what did we do yesterday? Friction and different
Newton's law.
Yeah, exactly. Newton's law. But all these things are done in a fun way, right? And so there's different games and activities and very hands-on things that the kids get to do that they get excited about. If you go to our Facebook page, we have some short videos that show some of the kids like creating their projects. There was a solar-powered little toy that they created, and it moved water, etc. So it's designed to be fun and engaging so that the kids are enjoying themselves, but at the same time they're learning about science and technology and math, and so all of these things are happening after school. But in fact, on St. John, Julius Sprague actually made it a part of their school day, so it's baked into the school day, and our team has gone out to the different schools and done sort of a train the trainer. This is the curriculum. These are the courses. This is how you can run this program. What do you mean
during the school day? So it's in the class?
Yeah, in the class. So go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that St. John has had such an amazing response to the program, which is great because we want to make sure we have a presence on St. John. But of all of the schools right now, St. John has the most students.
Really?
Yeah, which is exciting. But we've been seeing daily registrations for all 3 islands, which is great.
And when did this start?
It started the second week of school this January, so after the holiday break. And sign-ups are ongoing, right? So what we found is that there are children who participated and either told their friends, or there's parents whose kid participated and told another parent, and so we're still getting sign-ups, and we want as many of the youth to participate as possible. So if you have a child or know a child at any one of the schools that I've mentioned, it's still open registration, and they can reach out, and if you're having any issues, you can message us.
So after school, from what time to what time?
It varies per school, because it's like as soon as school lets out, but it's about 90 minutes, right? And it's 4 days out of the week, so pretty much the entire week. And so there's a lot of parents who have just baked that into their day, where they're going to pick their kid up after the program.
I was just thinking, and might not have been something that can be applicable, but like if parents wanted to, others from other schools after school wanted to, enroll them.
So yeah, we're working on that. Like we hope to come here in 2 or 3 years and say we're at every school in the territory. But we're also at a certain point going to have, I guess, field trips, if you will, so that other kids from different schools can come to the RT Park actually on Pi Day. What is that?
Pi Day is March
14th.
Yeah.
So we're going to have some schools come to the RT Park and participate in the same types of programs that the after-school students are getting. So again, the idea is to touch as many lives as possible, and so have as many of the youth come, whether it be to the RT Park or we have a program in their school, as possible, and really ramp this up over the years.
Perfect. All right, and so that's the after-school program that's happening at Youth STEM program. That's happening in St. Croix, Yulee, Rivera, St. Thomas at Lockhart, and St. John at the Julius Sproul schools, okay? And that's exciting. Robotics, friction, Newton's law, they're learning so much, and it's fun and culturally related as well. All right, so next, summer camp.
Yeah, so I mentioned a bit about the summer camp. It's going to be a roughly 6-week summer camp that we're going to launch this summer. We haven't opened applications for that yet, but we plan to do that in the coming months. So as I mentioned before, if you follow us on social media or sign up for our newsletter or visit our website, uvirtpark.net, you'll be able to learn more about the program. And as we open up the applications, then students can sign up. And again, that's not just for elementary age. That's going to be elementary, middle, and high school. And we'll have activities and programs geared towards whatever that age group is. So high school kids are, they're going to be doing more deeper coding and robotics and possibly, building drones, etc. So it's, again, things that we think are fun and exciting and help guide them towards a STEM-related career path.
There's a question, is there a fee for the summer program?
Right now, we're trying to make it as free as possible. So, we're still going through the budgeting, but the idea is that we want it to be free. There might be a small fee if we find out that we can't cover all of the costs, but the idea is that we want it to be free. And that's a good question. The youth enrichment programs at the schools are free. So the goal is to make everything free.
Okay. And the comment is that they love the hands-on. Our children need to take advantage of these opportunities, and so it's good that they're here to make sure the parents are knowing about it. So the way the children are going to take advantage of it, the parents, and making sure the children are being involved, right?
Absolutely.
Sharing the information. And so making sure that, you're hearing this information, maybe a parent that has a child at Yulee Rivera, you call them and let them know this is happening after school, and it's at no cost, all right? They have something that their child can participate in. It's very important that they're in after-school after-school extracurricular activities. And so, let's see. The next one is professional pathways.
Yeah, absolutely. So, City mentioned our unique partnership with the university, and that's one of the pillars of everything that we do. And part of the commitments that these companies make when they come to the territory is that they're committed to either hiring interns or providing scholarships to the university. And one thing that we've developed this year, and we're doing it with 18 UVI students overall, so 9 students on St. Croix 9 students on St. Thomas, and we're putting them through a 12-week program where it's really around professional development, right? So you go to school, you learn whatever degree program that you've signed up for, but how do you prepare for the professional world? And so we want to be that bridge that helps you with writing your resume, conducting mock interviews, giving presentations or public speaking, things like having a firm handshake, making eye contact, things that we know are important in the workforce that, even myself personally, I went through programs like this that helped prepare me so that on day one, I wasn't as intimidated. I understood what I needed to do, and I just became a more valuable member of the team. And so the idea is that our training and our professional development will help these Virgin Islanders, these UVI students, be more prepared for the workforce. And then we pair them with companies and internships for this summer.
Great. Yeah. So let me ask you, I know you did that for UVI. Have you considered contacting anyone for the business, FBLA, Future Business Leaders of America? Because that's some of the things when I was in school and I was was a member of the FBLA that they did. But it's really needed, and they need support in the schools as well.
So this year we're just starting with this small set of UVI students, but You're exactly right. Like everything that we do, we try to start small, we figure it out at a small scale, and then we try to ramp it up. And so the goal is to continue to grow the number of UVI students, right? Hopefully double that next year, if not triple it, but then start to reach out to programs like you just mentioned, reach out to the high schools. Like there are people who need these opportunities who don't necessarily just attend UVI, and so we want to be able to do that and place them in internships or employment opportunities.
Because when I got my first job, I had a resume already created, I had my FBLA uniform, and I knew how to present myself, and I got the job without even speaking. Because of how I was dressed, and I was there early, and I had my resume and things like that, and so that was from FBLA, and so I was like in, I think, 10th grade.
Yeah, those soft skills, they're just so important, and
11th grade. So so it's needed to just prepare them even before then. So I think it's great that you're doing that with the UVI students. All right, so we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're going to get into the other upcoming events, the Catalyst Fund seminar, and more. Time is going so fast. So we take a break and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You're listening to I Make It Happen with Exception Years, Nykole Tyson. If you were with us before the break, you'll know that we have Eric Sonnier in studio with us. He's the newest executive director of the RT Park, Research and Technology Park. We also have Sydney Paul in studio with us. She is the director of marketing and communications. And they've been, enlightening us about so many exciting things happening at the RT Park. It's very inspiring, and I love what's happening there. And I love that they have a young team, of course, that are, have long-term visions, and that, we need to incorporate more of the youth, of younger individuals in these positions as successors, so that we can improve our territory in so many aspects. And that is what is needed. And I like that they're going towards, or leaning towards, including the youth, because a lot of the issues that we see, we need to start from the youth to make impactful changes or long-term changes, because it's hard to change older people, but younger people, you can influence them, impact them, and to do the right thing. So if we want to see things like improving our territory, we definitely need to start from the youth. And I've had a conversation with some individuals before about the 20-year outlook, and so RT Park is spearheading that. And so we're going to talk about the Catalyst Fund seminar and some other events happening. What can attendees expect to learn from this seminar, and when is it, and what's the overall mission?
Yeah, so the RT Park has something called the Catalyst Fund, and so the legislature provided the RT Park with $5 million that can be lent to businesses in the territory. Right, and so these businesses don't necessarily have to be RT Park companies. They don't even necessarily have to be in the tech space, right? These are small businesses in the territory that may have a need for funding. And so what we're doing is we want to educate the community on the Catalyst Fund, and you can visit the website vicatalyst.fund.com. That's vicatalyst.fund.com to learn more about it. But in addition to that, what we're doing is we're hosting 2 Small Business Summit. So on March 19th here on St. Croix at our headquarters on UVI's campus, the RT Park building, we will be having a Small Business Summit where we invite small business owners who are in need of capital. So again, up to $250,000. So these are typically small business loans, to come out and learn more about the Catalyst Fund and meet us and have a conversation about what it is that you may have a need for with capital. And then we're doing the same thing over on St. Thomas the next day, March 20th, at the 13D Innovation Center near the UVI's campus. So the Catalyst Fund Small Business Summit, again, March 19th on St. Croix, March 20th on St. Thomas. And if you visit our website or if you follow us on social, you'll see our intake forms. We have a form you can fill out. You just provide us with your information so that we can ensure that you get invited to the Small Business Summit. And these are for Virgin Islands businesses, right? So you must have a VI business license, be in good standing with the BIR and Lieutenant Governor's Office, have been around for at least 18 months. And again, the loans are up to $250,000. And the idea is that we're not as strict as a bank, right? And that's why we want to meet people in person, because I think there's a lot you can learn about a person. There's a lot you can learn about a business, etc., that you can't get just from a piece of paper. So we want you to come out, ask questions, learn about the fund, and see if it's a fit for you and if we can help with it, whatever your capital needs are for your business. And we'll also have information at Ag Fair about it. So if you visit our tent at Ag Fair, we'll have information that we can share with you about the Small Business Summits from the Catalyst Fund.
And what are the requirements again? How long do they have to be in business?
18 months. 18 months in business. Have your VI business license. I'm not saying bring it with you, but just want to make sure you have that. And then in good standing with the BIR and Lieutenant Governor's Office. So not a lot of criteria, right? And then from there, we have a conversation with you and figure out if you're a good fit.
Okay, perfect. And so that's the Catalyst Fund. Go to vicatalyst.fund.com for more information. Is any company? You said there's no...
It doesn't have to be a tech company. Yeah. You don't have to... This could be your first time hearing about the RT Park. So it's not specific to us. These are for small businesses in the territory.
Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. And are there any other events or initiatives that RT Park is planning in the near future that we should be aware of?
I mean, we have a busy March happening. I'm going to wait to talk about some announcements for some open houses that we're planning to have. But if you sign up for our newsletter, you're going to be the first to hear about them. So please, if you're listening, follow us on social media and sign up for our newsletter. Talk to us in person at Ag Fair so we can give you some more information. But outside of Pi Day, which is going to be some STEM activities for the kids and the Small Business Summit, I think that's about it. I mean, we want people to come visit our space. We can give you a tour. If you've never been to the RT Park at 64 West, please come by. We just partnered with Project Promise to host them for their annual fundraiser, Havana Nights, that went really well on Saturday. We have a lot of community events that happen there. So if you follow us, we talk about a lot of those on our socials and online.
Perfect. Oh, thank you. So time just has gone by so quickly. I've learned so much. This was a great conversation.
Always.
Thank you so much for your time. Again, this is the newest executive director. Congratulations to Eric Sonnier. You're doing amazing things. I look forward to all of the results that's going to come through with the youth and all of the initiatives your team is implementing and supporting the community in regards to economic development and advancement. And employment. So that's really important. Making sure that our youth and the individuals in the territory are equipped to handle the employment opportunities that is here and are to come. And it's important for training. So thank you so much. Before we close out, is there anything else you want to mention about the role and how people can get involved? Just reminding them.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so just a reminder of how to get in touch with us. Our office number is 340-474-0922. So if you have any questions about any of the programs or initiatives that we talked about, you can call that number.
Say that again?
340-474-0922. office will be able to direct you to whomever you need to talk to. And then if you're trying to reach us directly via email, it's pretty simple. It's our first dot last name at uvirtpark.net. So for me, Sydney Paul, it would be sydney.paul@uvirtpark.net. And visit us online at uvirtp. Our website is uvirtpark.net. It's a new website. It talks about all of our new programs. Please go visit it. Engage with it. Send us messages. Sign up for our newsletter. We want to be able to just make sure that we're in constant contact with the community and supporting how we can.
And I just want to thank you, Nykole, because you've always been a supporter of ours, and we appreciate it. And every time I tune into the show, or if we're on the show, it's always positive and good vibes and encouraging of people to go out and make it happen. So thank you for always including us and always being there for us when we want to share what we're doing with the community.
I really appreciate that, and I appreciate you for always also supporting I'm making it happen and what you're doing in the community. And I appreciate that you tune in and use our platform to let people know what's happening. That is important. So thank you for that support as well. So as I mentioned, if you are just tuning in, this was RT Park, Eric Sonnier. He's the executive director for the RT Park, and Sydney Paul, director of marketing communications. We appreciate both of them. Sydney, as always, as well.
As always, thank you
for everything that you're doing, and you've been, running with this from the beginning, and definitely making it happen. So we appreciate both of you, as well. And thank you to all those who've tuned in today on I Make It Happen show. Before we close out, definitely want to mention that KFC wants you to know that they have listened to you, and they're going to come in with the new wings. So make sure to tune in for that very soon. All right. The wings will be returning. And thank you again for tuning in to I'm Making It Happen on the Reef 103.5 FM. And as we always say, we're going to be back next week. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week, Wednesday, from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. As we always say, we'll connect again. And until we speak next time, keep thinking outside the box, coloring outside the lines. And remember, it's about you, me, we. So make it happen.